Welcome everybody to Extreme Off-Road Silly Bills, and today we're dealing with a 1938 MG Midget. Now it's 668 horsepower, 682 pounds-feet of torque from a 2-litre turbocharged inline-4 engine, and the vehicle itself now weighs 1,697 pounds. Now has all-wheel drive, off-road tyres and off-road suspension, and it can do 0 to 60 in 3.342 seconds, 0 to 100 in 5.150 seconds, and going to a top speed of 188 miles an hour. So yeah, this is easily one of the oldest cars we've had on this series, so I'll be looking to compare it towards the 1931 Bentley 8 litre, which didn't have the worst time that we've ever had on a car on this series, but was hardly close to the top 10. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see what this smaller, lighter car can do. Though this car in standard form did have quite bouncy and awful suspension, to be honest, so hopefully, even though that we have upgraded it, it's still not quite as bad, because I believe that even though you do put in higher ride suspension or lower ride suspension, it's the same suspension, it's just been cut down or increased. So yeah, could well be in for a bouncy ride at some point, I imagine. Yeah, it does have a lot of horsepower for the amount of weight that this car has. And a lot more than it had originally as well. So we've got about 600 horsepower more. Getting up to a decent rate of speed though. Quite have as much grip as I would like though, because those tyres are still not all that wide from Oria, which is one benefit of having the all-wheel drive system. Whole, it's fairly controllable, far more so than I was expecting. And yeah, we're around the same time as the Bentley 8 litre as well. I think we're actually slightly quicker at 2 minutes 11.325, so yeah, we're about half a second or so quicker than the Bentley 8 litre, and we're also quicker than the Aerial Nomad and the Cadillac Eldorado. Really surprising that we're quicker than the Aerial Nomad, slightly ahead as well as the Can-Am Maverick, and only ever so slightly behind the International Scout 800A and the Mercedes-Benz D63 AMG 6x6. So yeah, the fact that we're quicker than the likes of an Aerial Nomad and a Can-Am Maverick is really rather impressive, because they are obviously built for going off-road, whereas this certainly wasn't, not back in 1938, and even with the upgrades it's still not the easiest of cars to drive. But yeah, did really well. I think the fact that it's got a lot of power and not much in the way of weight really helped, as well as being really rather small and not quite as bulky as other vehicles, which means that we've got less chance of hitting walls or trees or anything like that. So yeah, its size and lack of weight really did help, but it wasn't all that controllable. It had a lot of oversteer, and yeah, that's primarily down to the really rather thin tyres that are still on the car. They're wider than they are in the original stock form, but still not anywhere near the kind of width that you would rather have for an off-road course like this. So yeah, fairly decent, but yeah, way off the likes of the previous vehicles that we've had on this series, like the Jeep and the what was the previous one that we had? The Jeep and yeah, the Ford Ranger Raptor and the like, because they are obviously more built for off-roading. But yeah, still did a good time, and for one of the oldest cars we've had on this series, it's yeah, far from the worst. Nonetheless, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.